Hey, here's a quick video of my GlaStar airplane. A lot of videos out there that show, the airplane performing, etc., talking about it. But I thought one of the cool things is while this is a part for annual and tailwheel transition and a bunch of other things, to show you the interior parts that you can't really see that makes the GlaStar so cool. So, start in with the cockpit. And it's really clear right now, without the interior in, exactly how this steel cage works. So in back of here is fiberglass, and you can actually see the bulkheads quite clearly. That the two fiberglass halves join in together. And then if you look up here, you'll see where the steel cage starts to join with it. You'll also see the header tanks, which are a service bulletin. I think that's what it's called for experimentals. That helps with the fuel flow and make sure you don't run out of fuel when you are in a steep dive. And these lines can become unported because it's tilted forward. This is a limitation due to the folding wings, and you can actually see that hinge very clearly right here. But moving down into the cage itself, one of the really cool things is that the gear itself is easily movable. So this was before a tricycle geared airplane. So previously, the gear went into these sockets and then came out here. You can actually see the hole in the brake line right there. But it's quite easy, well, relatively easy, to make it a tail dragger, because all you have to do is take those gear legs, take them from here, and move them up here. And you can see my new gear legs are in here. I made this a little bit harder for myself because these are actually extended gear legs from Langair. So it wasn't quite as easy of a swap. But it's such a cool concept that I really haven't seen very many other places where you can switch so easily. You can also see the where the nose gear comes in. This is what holds the nose gear in place, and it's quite easy to take out. You can see where it comes out the firewall right here. It would normally come down here. We're gonna have to patch this hole, but other than that, it's such a neat concept. The other thing is, for it to be amphibious, you can use these fittings right here. So there's actually a hole in the fiberglass right here that the float fitting comes out of, that is replaced by this washer for spacing. But it's a pretty neat concept compared to most planes. So that's the other big thing, is that this cage gives you much more structural rigidity to make sure that if you do unfortunately end up in a crash, it gives you a bit better chances than if it was just a fiberglass shell. You can also really see here how the whole thing works together, and how you can run all the lines, make sure they don't interfere with it, see all the cables, and how they work. So that's the interior, looking up from the frontmost bulkhead back up. And of course this is experimental, so each one varies by its builder, but it's pretty neat. They're reasonably standard, so we're putting in some avionics as well. So the panel will definitely vary, but the cage and those basics won't. The other interesting thing is, if you go back here, my very glorious tail support, you can actually really see in here, back to the back bulkhead, how this works. It literally is, this is what supports the entire frame, or excuse me, the entire elevator. And they're just two pins that slide in there that transfers the force to the fuselage via this. And then for tail dragger, you just link up to the pins. You have to drill holes and make that so you can have tail wheel steering. This bracket is out now, you have to refabricate it. But it's a pretty neat solution also to make this trailerable. You can actually see the little pins that you can attach the wings to when you fold them back. And then, to be careful about it, but you can use the tailplane as a nice little work surface if you need it. But it's super easy to take off and remove, especially with the electric trim, and make, be able to get at the innards that you need to get to. So yeah, quick video. Hopefully someday this will be back flying, but I figured I'd do something that showcased exactly what it looks like with all the stuff out.